Artists are teaching online more than ever. In today's episode, we're talking about how a subscription box transformed a hand lettering membership. It helped students complete the projects and made them feel more connected to the membership. Plus, Kasey is sharing her shipping woes, and we can laugh about it now. Come listen.
Welcome to the Launch Your Box podcast, with weekly tips, tricks, and strategies to start, launch, and grow your subscription box. Now, here's your host, Sarah Williams.
Hey everybody, I'm here with my friend Kasey Hope with Pizzazz Art Studio. She has an awesome lettering membership called Whatever Letter. And today we're going to talk about how she took her art, her lettering, turned it into a membership, added a subscription box to that, and has just really exploded. Kasey, welcome to my podcast. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you do and then tell them about Whatever Letter.
Yeah, so I teach kids and adults. We've done that in our brick-and-mortar art studio for about 13 years. And then a few years ago, we started our Whatever Letter lettering subscription. And that is a membership. It's online where we teach ladies how to hand letter. We mix in some art in there and just really kind of help ladies experience peace and play in their everyday through art. Now, in addition to teaching online, we also, with this membership, send them a fun little box that we call Happy Mail. And in that box, it includes some traceables for their hand lettering, some scripture cards, and then some just some different materials that they can use on the monthly project that we're going to do. So that's kind of what our subscription is.
So you're teaching them in an online format, and then you're also sending them a box of supplies to go with your teachings every month.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
So let's talk a little bit about how this started and why you decided to put this box component with the membership, because you could have very easily just showed up, made some videos, taught people how to hand letter, told them where to go get supplies. But why did you choose to add a box to your membership?
Yeah, so I had actually tried to do a little bit of online classes before we started this membership. And one thing that I saw time and time again was it seemed like people would buy a class or we kind of would have a membership, but it wasn't one that they were like, forget about it. They were not, I could see they weren't logging in, they weren't doing the lessons, and they would just forget about it. So I was trying to think of how can we make this not just an online membership that they're going to forget about, but how can we do something that can be a tangible like experience, something that gets delivered to their door. They can touch it, they can open it, they can get excited about the lessons. And we just wanted to create kind of an experience around the membership. And so that box was a tangible little something that they could open. So we really wanted that component, that touch point into our membership.
There's something about having the physical product in your hands. Like you have this great online stuff, but having that new pen show up or having that blank canvas or whatever media that you choose for every month show up and you think, oh, I need to log in and see what we're making with this. How has that connected your members?
Well, it could be a barrier to entry that if they don't have the supplies.
Yeah.
So by giving them something that, okay, I don't have to go get this. Like we don't send everything they need. They're going to still need a few basic supplies, but by giving them that little bit to start with, they are more comfortable to jump in and to do the lessons. And then when they're doing the things, they're sharing their post and then you see them to start experience wins because they're creating and doing the stuff. So just the simple act of getting something that gives them a jumping off point, getting that one supply that they don't have to go buy, that they can sit down, do the video, and then they're just a lot more involved in the community of the membership because they've got what they need.
Right. There's not this extra step that they have to go find what you're doing or getting frustrated because they can't find it. You've created a way for them. We talk about consuming the contents of the box all the time in Launch Your Box and how we've got to go out of our way to help them consume what we're sending them. And you're helping them consume their membership by sending this box.
Exactly.
And I think about, we have a lot of artists and crafters and different things, in our audience. And there's so many ways that every kind of artist can do this, right? Like we see art kits a lot. We see craft boxes. We see kids art. There's just a lot of ways to bring what you're teaching in a digital space really into a physical box.
Right. And I don't think I think sometimes it can be overwhelming because if we look and if I was providing everything they need, it wouldn't make sense financially. We cannot afford to do that. But I'm providing the harder to find supplies. Like, if you've got a paintbrush and some paint, well, I'm going to provide this custom made wood cutout thing for you. So we're not providing everything. So I think that's important to remember too, as artists. Like, don't think that you've got to send every single thing. Just let them know what to expect. And you send the rare, hard to find something, that you create.
The project.
Right.
I see a lot of the art box and the craft boxes inside our membership that when we do the unboxings, they send the paint and the glue and you don't have to send
that
all
adds
that
up. It adds up.
It costs a lot. It's very time consuming to separate all those things. But if you just send the really the heart of the project there, show them where they can get the little supplies, and really any crafter, any artist.
Absolutely.
We're just hoarders of all that stuff. Like, we probably have drawers and drawers of paint and glue and any of the little things. We just want to send them the bulk of the project, and then they can add the rest. So I love that. Let's talk a little bit about where you started and then how you've grown. And you've just had like massive growth this year. So I want to kind of break that down, your journey for them a little bit. And then we're going to talk about some of the challenges that you faced.
Okay. Yeah. So we started with the lettering club. We launched it, and our first launch was 167 members, and we were thrilled with that. Like, that blew our expectations. And so we were excited with that, but we've continued to grow. I feel like we kind of were slow. It didn't feel slow at the time, but looking back, it kind of seemed a little bit slow, because when I look at my numbers, we were maybe a year and a half in January of 2020, we were at around 400. So that's not a whole lot more than the 167. Then we started in 2018, but then now in January 2021, we're over 1,000. So it's been a big jump in growth this year, and we've been very thankful.
Well, I know with a lot of growth very quickly comes challenges. And we were laughing before we jumped onto the podcast about some of the early challenges for you. And there's a lot of people listening that are just starting the subscription box. And so they might be experiencing some of the challenges that you did. So let's just talk about your shipping challenge first.
Okay. So the very first month, I said we had 167, and that month they were not actually in boxes, they were in envelopes, but we didn't know anything other than take them to the post office,
because you've never shipped anything before. You had a local art studio where you taught classes, and this was a whole new world for you.
We did not ship product, nothing. So we're like, well, we guess we take them to the post office. So we we labeled all of these 167 packages, and we just walked into the post office with boxes and boxes and boxes of these things that had no shipping labels. So they take them and they scan it, and they have to type in the zip code, and they have to print out a sticker, and then they put it on one. And then they do that to the next one. They scan it, type in the computer, and then do the next one. And we were there for so long. I could feel the line behind me just getting longer and longer, and people being mad because I'm not moving. And they see all the boxes of packages. So it's like, they know it's just, I'm going to be a while. And I would talk to the lady, the postal worker. I'm like, I'm not looking behind me. I'm not going to look behind me.
I could feel you like standing there sweating and having all the anxiety.
Awful. And then I was there so long. I mean, I feel like it was close to an hour. And so, and I had to call another employee just to come stand in line. I was like, I've got places to be. And so after that, she told us, the sweet lady at the post office was like, well, there's other ways to do this. And I was like, no, ma'am, I don't. Can you please tell me? And then I think I talked to you, and you told me ship station and different things. So I got some advice there, but hey, it was hard, and it was crazy and embarrassing, but we got those packages out. Like, you have to start somewhere.
We don't know, right? We just think if we're going to mail something, we take it to the post office, right? We don't know.
Right.
And what are some other, challenges as you've experienced this, massive growth this year? I know that with growth comes more challenges.
Mhm.
And what are some of those for you as you've gotten into the over 1,000 mark?
Yeah, we had a couple. So one of the challenges has been just the supply. It's not as easy to find 1,000 of the same thing as it was to find 200 of the same thing to put into boxes. And another challenge has been just the logistics of packing day. So with going back to the challenges of finding, the bigger quantity, I've had to really work different relationships and call different vendors and talk to them and be a lot more prepared and say, hey, we're looking at this 3 months down the road, or, or what is in stock that you've got this much. You have to really had to, just form those relationships and talk to people so that talk to the vendors, so that you can't, when you have the higher numbers, you can't just the month before figure out what you're doing.
Yeah, you really
got
to plan out.
Right. You got to plan it and know it and find out where you are getting your stuff from, and do they have the quantity, and can they ship it to you on time?
And it's about building those relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, as you use vendors that really come through for you and really have a good supply,
Mm-hmm.
how can you then build a relationship
Right.
with them so that you can use them
Right.
frequently?
Yeah. We've had some vendors that are so awesome. Like, they know we're on a time crunch and they know that their product was a little bit late, and they're like, we'll come down and help you pack. I'm like, thank you, but it's okay. We got it.
That's a great lead into packing day. I know that it's like this big event. It is for me. It's really kind of a fun day, and it is for you. And I know that our listeners would love to just kind of hear what a packing day looks like for 1,000 boxes.
Yeah, so it's definitely not a day. It takes a little bit longer than a day. It's kind of very similar to what you do. We prep beforehand. So if it's boxes, I have a lot of high school girls that work with us. So after school, they are at the studio anyway, and they are just over to the side if they have some free time folding those boxes. And there's a lot of pre stuff that gets done with the folding the boxes. We have a lot of paper material, the schedule, the cards, the traceables. So we will usually, like, after we have prepped either the boxes or the envelopes, we've got one day where we are just in there and just, it's just an assembly line of putting the paper stuff together, putting it through in a clear packet, and we get all of our papery stuff together. And then we have now kind of had to figure out a system, because we are working out of a brick and mortar studio that's also an art studio. We have had to be like, okay, we can't pack while we have kids in here, or adults. We can't even pack when we know tomorrow is going to be a party day. So we've had to actually shut everything else down for about 3 days. Say, okay, we're not booking any parties. We're not having any classes.
Blocking out that schedule.
Blocking it out. And for those 3 days, it is just, we use all those tables to line up the boxes and have the assembly line. And what's great is, I know a lot of the listeners might not have a huge team, but a lot of times we are calling people just, from our youth group. They're not they're not on staff with us, but they love coming in and just doing it for a little bit. There's a lot of teenagers that are happy just to come in and have fun. We make it fun. Yeah. We turn on music.
Earn a few dollars.
We make it a competition. We say, okay, who's gonna, who can get this? Well, we're labeling. How many labels can you do in 10 minutes? Go. We just make it fun. And it's not people that are, on our regular staff.
And I love that, because I see as some of our members are starting to grow, they don't have teams, but when you're packing 100 or 200 or 300 boxes even, that is very laborious for one person to do. Or, for me in the beginning, I'm bribing my kids with like anything that they, wanted to come help me. And it was like pulling teeth to get them to really do something for me. And so having just a core group of friends or family, or, your teenager and their friends to come help you pack, then you don't have to put a bunch of employees on staff, and it's really beneficial for you.
And you really, we have heard it time and time again, like people, they just tell us it's fun. So we're like, okay, so that makes me want to make it even more fun. So there'll be some times where it's been an extra hard pack and it's been, everybody's really tired, and I will just call up, the girl that gives us massages. I'm like, can you come down here and bring 10 gift certificates? And we just surprise them, like, guess what everybody's getting? Massages all around. So we try to make it fun for everybody who's there. That's and reward. Fun. You can buy them pizza. You can do whatever. You can make packing day a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love that. One of the things that I always ask people, because I know for my own business and my own life, that having this subscription box, having that recurring revenue just show up in my business, has really changed my business. It's changed my life. And I would love to hear a little bit about how it's changed your business. I know we've gone through some really big challenges in 2020. Both of us have a brick and mortar store, and so that's really affected us. But how has this changed your business and your life?
It has flipped our business. There was, the studio teaching was what we started with, and that was 100% of our income for a long time, or 100% of our business. And when we started this, it was kind of on the side, and our studio was still 80% of our business. Well, then COVID hit and we had to shut down our business completely, not our whole business, our brick and mortar portion. And there was just a lot of, fear and scared and, oh my gosh, what were we going to do? And in the same moments of feeling the fear and the scared, like I was then reminded, like, we've got this subscription, we have got this online membership, recurring revenue that is not dependent on this building. And even though this building got shut down, it just gave me so much just peace, there was still a lot of scariness happening around the shutdown. But it was just like, okay, I can breathe. I can still pay my employees. We can still have food on our table. But and I think just the security of that,
the reassurance,
yes,
that you had money coming in every month.
Yes,
you didn't have to show up and sell stuff during the pandemic when everything was shutting down.
Right.
You didn't have to worry about income coming in, and I think that's the same for me.
Yeah.
It's really what changed my outlook, and it really just makes you feel secure and stable,
and not even just secure. We could grow it.
Yes.
We couldn't. The studio was completely shut down. We couldn't grow anything there. We were safe, secure, and we could grow that business even with everything shut down. That was huge. And so now when I say that it's completely flipped our business, our studio is like 20% of our business now. And there's 80% that are our online memberships and subscription boxes.
I love it. It's so good. Kasey, we are going to wrap up our conversation today, and with one piece of advice that you would give, because there's a lot of people listening that maybe haven't started their subscription box. They've barely started their subscription box. What advice would you give for anyone new to the subscription box industry?
If you are just kind of thinking about it and you're worried that you don't have all the pieces, I would say just start. Just start. It can be sloppy. It can be small. You're going to learn the lessons. You're going to stand at the post office like I did. I hope you don't. I hope you learn from me. But there was a lot more mistakes along the way. There was, times where we printed out labels and forgot to have them on sticky paper. So then we had to tape them on every single packet. There was a lot of those little mistakes. And, starting small there is no shame in that. That is where you learn how to create the systems that you need so that as you grow, you've got them.
You've got your processes down.
Right.
It's easier if you have 50 mistakes than 500 mistakes.
Right.
And so really just finding your groove. I think it's a rhythm. It's a process that you have to put in place, and everyone's looks just a little different. And so I love how you said, just start small, build on top of that, and don't be afraid.
Yeah. Right.
Don't be afraid.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, Kasey, I've loved having you on my podcast today. Where can they find you? Where can they follow you and see what you're doing?
We, pizzazz.online.com is our website. PZAZZ is how you spell pizzazz. On Facebook, you just be sure to put the apostrophe in pizzazz, P''ZAZZ, Pizzazz Art Studio.
All right. Thank you so much, Kasey. I appreciate you.
All right. See ya.
If the idea of creating a subscription box is swirling around in your head, I encourage you to head over to launchyourboxwithsarah.com, get on our waitlist, and grab some of our free downloads to help you get started. That's launchyourboxwithsarah.com.